Well, it's time to use some more of that eastern red cedar. You can see there's not a whole lot left in that pile. And that is the last best piece. For a decent sized bowl anyways. Whoever cut this log originally cut it really short. It'd be nice if the length matched the width, but it doesn't, so it's just going to be a little bit smaller of a bowl. I'm drilling a 1/4 inch hole at a little bit of an angle here. And the hole is to fit the dowel that's going to be guiding this on my circle cutting jig for the bandsaw. So there's a 4 1/4 inch radius on the log. So I placed the dowel at the 4 1/2 mark on the circle cutting jig. I always like to go a little bit wider. My plan is to mount this onto the chuck with a worm screw, but first I have to flatten out a spot on the top of this bowl. The first step after getting this mounted on the lathe is to get it round. Throughout the video, I'm going to do at least one pass at normal speed and then speed up the video to 4-speed because it's more fun to watch. This wood is so beautiful. Oh, what an amazing tree. And here I'm just flattening out the base of the bowl. And then I'm going to cut the mortise so I can reverse mount it onto the chuck. But after I cut the mortise and before I reverse mount it, I'm going to shape the foot into its final proportions and then sand it and then flip it. This is a really huge crack. Actually, it's more in how the tree grew than a crack, but regardless, I stabilized it with some thin CA glue. And I did that to 3 or 4 other cracks as well. One which later on in the video develops into a pretty significant crack, but not a showstopper. For those of you that don't know, the activator just speeds up the drying process for the CA glue. After I put on all the CA glue, I sanded to 320 grit and then reverse mounted it to start working on the top side. I know I've said it before in other videos, but I'll say it again. I really enjoy seeing pictures of what you all are making, and I'm happy to show them. Bob Glover made this beautiful clock. I just love it. Dearborn clock. Dave Stewart. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous bowl. I love Patagonian rosewood. So pretty. Thanks again for sending me those pictures. I'm not using very much pressure on the bevel side or on the push. Going nice and slow, letting the edge of the gouge do the work. There's just no need to muscle it. If you listen close here, you can start to hear a little bit of a chatter coming from the bowl. So I had to stop it and take a look and see what was going on there. And you can see there's a pretty significant crack in the bowl that I'm going to have to address. Using CA glue seemed like a logical first step. And I'm just going to make my final passes with a heavy round nose scraper. And we'll see how that looks and maybe readdress the crack. I'm taking the rest of the bark off because it's really fibrous, almost stringy or hairy in nature, so I didn't want that in the bowl, and it looks better without it. The cedar's so pretty, the wood itself. And here I'm just applying a couple coats of sanding sealer, shellac based sanding sealer, before I put on the resin. And this is actually the third coat of resin. A couple coats of clear, and then I added some pearl because I thought the pearl would pick up on the purples and kind of highlight the colors, and it definitely does. It looks a little bit more hazy or cloudy in the video than it does in person, but I'll show some angles where the purple is just brilliant. I'm certainly not trying to cover up the color. I'm just trying to make it more flashy. Just trying to take it to that next level. This might be controversial though. We'll see in the comments. I like it. Oh, and also the crack that had appeared in the bowl is now incorporated into it. You can still see the crack, but it's nice and smooth and shiny. I have a barbecue rotisserie hooked up to my lathe right now. That's what's keeping this thing turning at a slow speed. And the whole purpose is so drips don't form. And it works beautiful. Not my idea. I've seen quite a few other people doing this. Namely Simon at SG Art Turning and Marlon Bates. A couple of really good channels. Now you can see it looks a little cloudy at some angles, but at others the purple is really accentuated, which is what I was going for. And I really like the pearl effect in this bowl. I sure hope you do too. Thank you so much for watching. All you subscribers out there, thank you for helping me grow. I really appreciate it. Semper Fi.